that traveling needs. You in here, man. Look.
I'll tell you what I like about your skin that will never fall apart. Cause you never ever open up your heart. And I don't know the easy way to start.
Welcome back to the stream, man. We live and expecting. Let's get to it, man. Sorry about that background music. I'm trying to get right. We'll get to it.
You never ever open up your heart. And I don't know the easy way to start. Yeah, I don't know the easy way to start. I'll tell you what I like about your skin that will never fall apart. Cause you never ever open up your heart. And I don't know the easy way to start. Yeah, I don't know the easy way to start.
Yeah, we in here, man. I appreciate that. We're gonna delve into this system, man. Get to it. Y'all scalp that like button. Y'all know the vibes in here. Let's do it. this on their love support, man. Delve into some history, get an understanding of some behaviors. You know, y'all travel with me, I'm travel with y'all, man. You know, what we spoke about. Yeah, man. But definitely got some we doing bigger and better things, man. We getting to it. We getting to this knowledge, man. We spreading it. Let's do it. Y'all travel with me and I'm traveling with you, man. Big Kush clouds, y'all know the vibes, man. Big Kush clouds, you hear me? Hey, yo, peace to the original, man. You already know the vibes, man. You already know the vibes. Peace, OG, dog, Philly. Pull up, dog, Philly, OG. My bad about that gangsta, you know the vibes. No disrespect, no disrespect. Peace to you, OG, original. How you? Yo, peace, peace, peace to the Yo, peace to the originals, man. You know the vibes, man. Y'all in here, man. Indian, man. Urban Indian. Y'all know the vibes, man. Welcome to the stream, man. Get in the convo, man. Hit that like button, hit that dislike button. Doesn't matter, whatever you feel like the vibe is leading you to do. You dig me? Go ahead and do what you do. We out here in beautiful Raleigh, man. Can't ask for nothing more, you know, sustainable, man. More beautiful, more gracious, beautiful place to be. Um, and y'all rocking with me, man. Y'all rocking with me. You know what I mean? And I'm rocking with y'all. I got some things I do want to share with y'all. Let me get the screen right for it. I ain't gonna hold you though. I ain't gonna hold you. Some of this shit I kind of call cap, but I don't know. Some you know, things, bro. Honest, and I'm gonna be honest with you because that's what I'm here to do. You think I ain't gonna never play you or pull your tail. You feel me? But I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like a lot of things, bro, is just crazy. You feel what I'm saying? And we're gonna get into this little visual in a minute, you dig me? We're gonna get into it. We gonna delve, we gonna understand, like I said before, man, the different behaviors of individuals, because we'll look at people and be like, yo, why individuals act the way they act? I know that there's a deeply rooted reason to why propaganda, log on white, some people call it white supremacy, whatever. You know what I mean? But we can definitely all agree that there's something crazy that's going on. You dig what I'm talking about? So with that being said, man, you already know what time it is, man. You tuned in, man, with the Hood Indian Urban Indian, man. Make sure you hit that like, that subscribe button, man. Let's make sure we get to it, man. But without further ado, man, I'm gonna go ahead and put it up here and get it right, man, for us, so we can get them dove in. You feel me? This is what we here to do. This is what we came to do. Make sure, let me know this audio is right. Y'all can hear me. So we can get them dove in. I know my mic hooked up this time. Other times I ain't have my mic hooked up, but we're going to go ahead and get into it. Matter of fact, let me make sure I do this. You understand? So we ain't getting hit. Oh, you using other people. But now this story is about a woman named Sandra, man. She's saying that she was reclassified as a black woman, but she's really white, a native of Africa, Pan-African for real, for real. And I just want to delve in with you and see, your thoughts and what y'all think about this, because like I said, there's a lot of things that's going on, bro. We can see the flip flop. Like we got people like Amber Rose, for instance. I ain't black. You got individuals that clearly got the features and things of that nature, but this woman also does too. But she's claiming that she was a white woman. That she is a white woman. Not was a white woman, is a white woman. You feel me? So we're gonna delve into it and see what it's about, man, and get to it, man. Like I said, man, y'all travel with me and I'm traveling with y'all, man. Y'all know the vibes, man. We're gonna do it in here.
South Africa in the 1950s. This was a country and a time where the races were strictly segregated by law. The infamous policy of apartheid was designed to maintain white supremacy and the purity of the white race. It was here that this young girl, Sandra Lang, grew up. She found herself an unwitting victim of this system, and her case became notorious throughout the world. It turned on the fact that although Sandra clearly looks mixed race, by a quirk of nature, her parents were in fact white. In a profoundly conservative society, where the races were strictly separated, nothing could have been more shocking or more problematic for her family. It simply wasn't an option for a child to be a different color from its parents. Sandra Lang found herself on the wrong side of history. The contradictions of apartheid tore her family and her future apart. This is Sandra Lang today. Her life has been an epic tale of survival against tragedy, isolation, and violence. So this is the extraordinary story of how a small, skin-deep difference shattered her life. This is the story of Sandra Lang. Under the South African system of apartheid, everyone was officially classified as belonging to one particular race group. People of different races were not allowed to use the same public facilities. They were not allowed to have sex, marry, or even live in the same areas. All the best jobs were strictly reserved for white people. Segregation was as near total as the government could make it. The story of Sandra Lang was one of the most extreme examples of the madness and brutality of that system. Sandra Lang is taking us back today to see where it began, far away from South Africa's cities, in a highly conservative rural part of northeastern South Africa, where her parents ran 2 trading stores. Accompanied by South African journalist and friend Michael Atwell, Sandra is taking us on a journey to the places where her life unfolded and to tell us what happened there.
I was born here and this was our house. My mother's shop was on this side. My friends were coming from that location there, Driefontein. They were playing here in the yard. And they were black kids. Their mother were working in our kitchen and doing the laundry.
Were there any other white people here?
No.
And what language did you speak with them?
I spoke Zulu with them. It's where I started to learn Zulu. I helped my mother in the shop. My mother's shop was on this side.
Growing up in this isolated environment, Sandra had little awareness of her colour. Her parents appear to have accepted it without comment or discussion, and they were clearly a happy family. She had a younger brother, Adrian, who was also mixed race in appearance, but again this was never referred to. In 1962, when Sandra was 6, her carefree childhood was to be shattered forever. This is the small town of Piet Retief, near Sandra's home. She also had an older brother who was attending boarding school here, and she was now sent to join him.
Piet Retief was a typical countryside town. The local people were predominantly Afrikaans speaking. The people were particularly conscious of being white and separate. You were constantly made aware of being white and proud and not to mix with others. At, I think it was 8 o'clock at night, there was a siren that goes off that all black people had to be off the streets. Domestic workers had to stay in their rooms, and anybody on the street at that time were arrested. They were not allowed to walk around if you were black.
A recent feature film vividly portrays Sandra Lang's life. Here she is shown arriving at the Piet Retief boarding school.
Like martial law already. We have been through martial law.
What's the name again?
Lang. I'm Leon's mother.
Her parents had always treated her like a white child.
Thank you.
But that was now going to collide head-on with South Africa's racist reality.
Ma, why are they all staring?
You knew him, my sweet. They're just curious.
It's hard to
It
see
was
how, like
1962,
no cat, like
and,
it's just
I was
hard to see
staying
how. I'm not saying
at this
it's
boarding
impossible.
school
I believe it
for
could be
about
true.
4 5 years.
I see the
The
mixed
kids were teasing me
phenotype
when
in
I
her, but it's
was
like when you look
showering
at the
or
little girl that they using, it's like, come
washing
on, man.
myself. They were
But
saying
right there,
to
it's
me
like,
that
you question. I don't know.
I'm dirty and I'm black. I don't I can't go to school here. This is a white school. And then I would fight with them. At first, I didn't know what's going on. When I go home, I would ask my mother why the kids are saying
See
this
what
to
I
me.
mean? See what I'm
Then my
saying right
mother
there?
would
See
say,
how
I
she,
must
you know what I
just
mean?
leave
Come
them
on.
alone. I must not listen what they're saying because it's not true.
I was at school when this whole thing happened. She was very dark in color and with frizzy hair and so on. And it was, I think they also picked on her, but I remember we were standing, I think in the study hall or something, and they were standing and somebody raised their voices or so on, and she was so petrified and interrogated that she stood against the wall and she wet herself.
I only had one friend, her name was Elise.
And the rest of the children? They were not friendly towards you?
No. They didn't want to play with me or do homework with me. I was most of the time alone.
When Sandra Lang was at school here 40 years ago, not only was she shunned by other children because of her skin color, her school teachers actively campaigned to expel her. She was described like this by her headmaster in a letter to the education department. The hair is black-brown, definitely curly. The little eyes are dark brown,
That's the
almost
thing that
black.
confuses me.
The lips
right
stand
there,
out
bro.
somewhat.
Like, this part right
Brackets
here
are
is
thick,
like,
as in the
I
case of a
don't know,
person
like
with
the
mixed
girl
blood.
looked like
And he wrote,
The
It is my
girl looked
personal
like she could
opinion
be
that this child should not be admitted
black
to
and
a
all
white
that.
school
You feel
or
me?
a
But
white hostel in the Republic of South Africa. The school's campaign against Sandra
I
lasted
don't know.
4 years, a very long time in a child's life.
This is what brings us
In
to this thought. You
1966,
feel me?
they
Like,
finally
it's deep
triumphed.
though.
When she was 10, the government changed her race classification from white to colored or mixed race. And that had an instant dramatic effect.
I was in my classroom, and then Mr. Van Tonder sent somebody to come and call me. He wants to see me in his office. And then I went to his office, and I found 2 policemen there. And then he said to me, I must go with these policemen. They are taking me home. Then I asked him why. He just said to me, I must ask my parents.
We just heard that they said, no, she was declared a black person and blacks are not allowed to be in the school with whites, and that is why they were removed. And that's why she was taken out of school. I think it was a very big shock for her brother. He didn't speak about it, and it was very upsetting. But he was allowed to stay at school. He didn't leave school. He stayed there.
Sandra's case was particularly brutal. But reclassification was by no means unusual.
There were roughly 2,000 people a year who were reclassified according to race from one racial group to another. And probably this started from the very beginning, 1950, right up until 1989.
Every year, the Minister of Home Affairs would officially list the reclassifications in Parliament.
And he would say 10 whites were reclassified as coloreds, 6 Indians were reclassified as Chinese, 3 Chinese were reclassified as Malays, and the list would just go on and on. We have these statistics, and they were literally, the final sentence of this was, no blacks were classified as white, and no whites were reclassified as black.
The dramatic circumstances of Sandra Lang's reclassification soon attracted national and even international criticism, and considerable media attention became focused on her. The impact was so great that more than 40 years later, local people still remember the case.
Do you remember her?
Yes, I
Who is
remember
this lady?
her. Sandra Lay.
And what do you remember about her?
No, she had a terrible life.
Really?
Tell you, eh? It's like that, isn't it? Yeah. Sandra, it is. I know.
Now, God, though, for some reason they were complicated. That's why I'm like, it's just intriguing. It's not even, excuse me, in the sense of believable. It's just like, yo, really? We go to the lengths,
We felt
like
sorry for
major
you because it was a
lengths to just try to like make a point.
terrible
Like, this
story.
is what makes me believe she's
You
part
can't
black.
do anything to it. You couldn't do
whatever.
anything. We couldn't do anything. Eh? It's like that.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know where it came from. I don't know.
Oh, well.
It was not our story. And nowadays it's nothing.
The whole thing was so pointless, really.
Ja. Nee, back as bijna goed.
Thank you, man.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
All the best,
Bye,
jullie.
thank you.
Sandra's reclassification, which caused such controversy, had huge implications. In theory, she couldn't even live with her own parents, though the authorities never tried to enforce that. At her home near Johannesburg, she talked about the issues of race and her color.
This is my mother, and here I was 11 years old.
So this was just after you'd been expelled from the school.
Yeah.
When you were growing up, did you regard yourself as a white person? Did you have any sense of color?
I didn't.
Like, shorty,
Worry
like,
about color.
mom dudes, you had to be dipping and
I
dabbling,
was
like,
just,
on it. Like, we got to keep it real,
happy
like, with
and
ourselves, though.
playing with my
You
friends.
done ran in the song, got, you know what I mean?
But when I
Got
got
spanked
older,
down. And now you like, oh, let
when I
me,
did
you know what I mean? Like,
days,
I might be dead wrong. I'm just saying, because I ain't know,
I
you know what I'm
was
saying?
not the same as my parents anymore.
Motherfuckers that study DNA and shit like that. But, like,
After
from
Sandra's
the,
expulsion
man,
from school,
listen,
her father
it's
embarked
crazy.
on a high-profile public campaign to try and get her reclassified back to white. But there was now real stress within the family. Her parents could no longer avoid the question of why she was a different color. An obvious possibility was that Mrs. Lang might have had a sexual liaison with a black man. At that time, also a serious crime.
Did your father, was he suspicious of your mother?
I think it.
I'm saying, bro, that's a good question, bro. As far as language go, I know a little bit, bro, but I'm from, like, my family from the islands. I know a little Creole, so it's different. Like I said, it's a different path for individuals. That's why, your genealogy, your cultural, your ethics, and your history, experiences with that culture is important because everybody's is different. This is why I say that even though everybody may fall under the banner or might even actually be Indian, American Indian, whatever, Aboriginal, whatever, you feel me? It's the different experiences that makes us different. This is by default, bro. Like, this ain't by no, oh, bro, hating and he just trying to make it look bad. This ain't what that is. You feel me? This is just the facts, bro. We're different based off of experiences, bro. Trials and tribulations and things that we go through. This is what makes our culture and our nature important. Our history important, bro. You feel me? This is why I'm telling everybody, yo, bro, your genealogy is important for you, not so much me. It's important for you and vice versa. You feel me? So to be honest with you, I really don't know what the hell happened with the languages. Yeah, you're right. DNA testing does debunk declassification. I don't know what they got going on. I feel like they try to really do something funny, but we're gonna keep watching and see what she's talking about.
My father did think that she had failed somebody because they did fight a lot. We were sitting at the dinner table. And my mother got up and went to the room, and she go from the room, went outside, and my father followed her, and then he found her, she had a gun with her. I think she wanted to enter
Yeah,
like
thank you,
that.
bro. Not a problem, not at all.
And how did it
Not at
make you
all.
feel?
Appreciate the conversation, honest.
I was sad. I didn't know what's going on. Why are they fighting? Maybe I was thinking they're fighting over me. But that time I was still only 11. I didn't know what's going on.
Do you think it's at all likely that she had a relationship with another man?
No, I don't think so. No, she didn't.
If Mrs. Lang hadn't had a relationship with another man, the most likely explanation for Sandra's skin color must be genetics.
For Sandra Lang to have been conceived of white-looking parents is not any magic. It is based purely on the assortment of genes that each parent would have carried that is responsible for the production of pigment that defines skin color. So if one of the parents had an ancestor who was African, it is very possible by pure statistics of how she inherited her genetic pool from mom and dad, that she would have carried a gene that could produce more pigment, giving her a darker skin color. Because 1 in 10 white South Africans has at least one African ancestor. And it's as common as that.
Do you think your father was embarrassed in some way by you, or do you think he genuinely loved you?
I think my father did love me. My father always told the newspaper people when they come that I'm his child. And he loved me, and he trying me to have a better life.
When Sandra's of age, who will she be allowed to marry?
It's this question of Sandra's paternity which has always haunted her story, as the recent feature film about her life underlines.
Are you concerned that you're going to be arrested under the Immorality Act?
I have never been unfaithful to my husband.
How do you explain your child's appearance?
I can't explain it. If there is black blood in our veins, we never knew about it.
Sandra, come to your pa. This is Sandra. You may take a photograph, but please, no questions.
1 year after Sandra's expulsion, her father's public campaign to have her classified back to white finally succeeded. The government, embarrassed by the huge public scandal, changed the law to say that a child had to be the same color as its parents.
And in Parliament today, an amendment was made to the Population Registration Act. Descent rather than appearance will be the determining factor in all classification cases. Children must now be classified the same race as their parents. Our reporter went to the streets of Pretoria to gather reaction.
This is a betrayal of everything.
She's white again.
Declare them all bastards.
Sonny!
Sandra Lang, the lot of them. That's what they are.
Sonny! Sonny! She's white again! Sandra, you're white!
Sandra's reclassification back to white meant she now had her third racial identity. So here, back at her Brereton Park home, things seemed to return to normal. But then, when Sandra was 14, events took another dramatic turn. She met a man 20 years older, and not just any man, a black man, Petrus Swane.
Petrus was also living in Driefontein, and he was selling vegetables and fruits, and he used to come every day here. And then that's how I met Petrus, because my mother would buy fruit and vegetables from him for the shop. He was attractive, and he was very friendly. And we were friends at first, always talking to him until we went out with him. And then my father found out, and he was very angry.
Why was he angry?
My father didn't like black people.
2 years after meeting Petrus, at the age of 16, Sandra's life took another fateful turn. She decided to elope with him. She had no idea of the profound consequences this would have.
How radical a step was it for Sandra to elope with a black man?
It's almost unthinkable. And the reason I say that is that generally, if you were classified colored and you looked white enough, it would just mean many more opportunities. It would mean a better education, it would mean living in a better area, it would mean possibility of a better job. So you would be doomed if you chose, to go and live in the black community.
Sandra had no choice. There was nothing her father could do to make her white. Sandra couldn't be white. Sandra would never have fitted into a white society. It's no use having an ID that says you're white when everything you experience with people is that I'm not white and that I'm accepted by other people, by black people. So the fact that Sandra ran away is just the most logical thing to have happened.
After they eloped, Petrus took Sandra across the nearby border to Swaziland, where there was no apartheid. But the couple were arrested for illegal entry and sent back to prison in South Africa. Petrus was released, but Sandra remained in jail for 3 months. During that time, Petrus and his mother visited her regularly.
Right here?
Is she?
Is she? Is she
She
there?
doesn't see it's me.
Petrus's mother, Jenny, is still alive, aged 90, and Sandra and her friend are visiting her. Sandra regards her as her second mother and remains in close touch. While Sandra was in prison, Jenny went to Mrs. Lang's shop to tell her what had happened to her daughter. The shock for Sandra's parents must have been enormous.
Leza sikhathi boyile kumama wamthola anjani?
Mali.
Yeah.
Abesesitolo. Ngamcela ke ngicela ukukhuluma naye. Weta kimi ngamtshela ukuthi labantwana sebaboshiwe eswazini.
Masikhathi umtshela ukuthi ngiboshiwe wenza njani be-worried or anjani?
Wathi kuzinto la ngayenza sobushwa ngumthetho wekwenda. Umtshelile basi. Wathi sihambe siyemhlola wathi basakangeni lapho. Wathi ke mina ngidinga sopa. Wathi kulungile ndakupha sopa.
The court decided to release Sandra into the care of Beatrice and Jenny. But in gaining a black family, Sandra was to lose her white one. Her father cut off all further contact, and she never saw him again.
Can you understand her father's point of view?
I think it does show you how strong racial issues were, that he would have to overcome his love for his own child and put that aside. And he clearly did love her. And that the laws and apartheid were stronger than that. And that is, to me, is the real tragedy.
He couldn't blame the system because he believed in the system. He voted for the system. So the only person he could blame was Sandra. And then he kept her mother away from her. I think Sandra's mother must have been just as shocked and just as upset. But you know what mothers are like. They're more forgiving and they're more accepting. But I think that's where her father drew the line. Is to him, he felt he had done so much, she'd thrown that back in his face, and he felt humiliated and betrayed.
Once Sandra Lang's father had rejected her for eloping with a black man, she was destined to embark on a long journey through the entire spectrum of the black South African experience. It began when she and Beatrice set up home here, close to his mother. Sandra was totally unequipped for her new life.
I came here, I was still 15 years. I couldn't cook anything.
Bokulungile nethi ke ngitshele ukuthi yenza so. Satsa ke manje ngiyokhe manje aphathe bhikile so alengisa. Mina ngibekela. Sambe sofuna tinkuni. Exekuhoti yena bebela. Mina ngithwala.
Shuthi bafuna ukwazi ukuthi wena ukuthi so fana nomama wami wesibili.
Ngoba ngihlala ngedwa ngathi eHatrey Petros netiye. Petros phela manje lo kathole lo ngathi sebabili.
Hardly had Sandra settled down to her new life when apartheid caught up with her again. She and Beatrice became victims of an infamous policy by which blacks were forcibly driven from their homes, something she'd never have suffered, of course, if she'd remained white.
The effect of the Group Areas Act on Kromkrans is that it was reclassified as a white area. And then, you know, all the black people who were living in that area were forcibly removed to other areas. And what happened from the 50s right through to the 70s was one of the largest processes of forced removals in the world, where millions of people were uprooted and forcibly removed. And I think that is one of the ways of fundamentally destroying people psychologically.
Sandra and Beatrice were now forced to abandon their home. Sandra is taking us to see the place 30 miles away where they resettled.
Yeah, they probably are majority African. I mean, it still doesn't dispel the arguments of those that aren't.
Sandra's case
but I
was
agree
still
with you. They
attracting
probably are. I
occasional
see that.
media interest.
You can see that being true.
In
And I do
1977,
believe she was
one of
mixed.
South Africa's most distinguished photographers,
Honestly,
David Goldblatt,
just often
went
the
to
phenotype
photograph
is
her.
just too prominent. So, You know how it
I
go, man.
visited
You know,
her
let
at
people do
a
what they do, I guess.
resettlement camp in the eastern, what was then the Eastern Transvaal. She was living with a black man. If I remember correctly, she had 2 children with him, and they had established a shop, a little shop when I came there. It was very recently established, physically big, shy. I think she'd come to accept that she was an object of interest. I don't think she gloried in it. She simply accepted it, that she was a person of some interest to the rest of the world. As far as I can recall, she had virtually cut off all relations with the family, but I think there was still some unofficial or surreptitious contact either with the mother or the father. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
The mother.
It was the mother. And she seemed to treasure that, if I remember rightly.
And when I got my eldest son, Henry, and then I went back to my mother and go and show her the baby. And she was glad to see us, but she said that I mustn't let my father found me there because my father was very angry. After that, she said to me, I mustn't come again. This was our house in the Rondavel, but these houses wasn't here. This was our whole place. And the shop was on the side. But they've broken it down. It was the same shop like this one. It was a general dealer. We sold everything inside and the homemade beer. We sold it. Also the people would come and sit and drink here. I was busy in the shop the whole time and doing my housework, laundry, cooking, and looking after the kids, Henry and Elsie.
Sandra was worried that because she was officially a different race from her children, they might be taken away. So during this period, she applied to be reclassified back to colored. But now, perversely, the authorities refused because she was underage and her father wouldn't consent. For almost a decade throughout the 1970s, Sandra and Beatrice lived together in Tjarkestad. But Sandra's life was never destined to be easy. Eventually, their relationship deteriorated, prompting yet another major convulsion in Sandra's life.
Well, Peter's always come and take money in the shop, and then he goes to drink. When he comes back, he wants to know where's the money? What did I do the whole day? And he would fight with me and hit me. Then I left him. He wasn't at home. I closed the shop and took the kids and I left.
8 years after eloping with Beatrice, now aged 24, Sandra's black South African journey brought her to the completely different environment of an urban township, 40 kilometers east of Johannesburg. She'd been desperate to get away, anywhere, and a man she knew in Tjarkestad had a relative here. We traveled with Sandra to see where her journey now took her, to live amongst the black urban poor.
I had to leave Beatrice because he was every day hitting me, and I just thought that if I don't go, he's going to kill me. I knew David. He had a house in Tjarkestad. I asked him, can he take me away and I'll see what will I do. And then he did take me, and then he brought me here at his sister's house. I left Tjarkestad in 1979, and then I came here in Guatemala. And I was with my 2 kids, Henry and Elsie. And then I was staying in one of these houses. And then to support myself, I was cleaning people's houses, doing laundry, looking after their kids to let them give my kids food. It was very hard. Henry and Elsie was still small. Henry was 7 years, Elsie was 6. And I didn't know anybody here. I just hope that I will get a job or something to support the kids.
In due course, Sandra had a third child, another boy, Prince, by a short-lived relationship. But life wasn't getting any easier for her. When Sandra was wrongly suspected of having cancer and she had to go into hospital, there was no one to care for her 3 children. The authorities took them away and fostered them out. Kwaitema marked perhaps the lowest point in Sandra's life. No partner, no job, no money, and now no children. Around her, the world was also troubled. In townships like these, black agitation against apartheid was gathering force, and white power beginning to buckle. Little did Sandra know it at the time, but this period was actually the beginning of a long, slow turnaround in her life. Now 26, she got her first steady job here at a local cosmetics factory. In part, this was due to her now succeeding in becoming colored again. This, her 4th racial identity, meant she was now the same race as her children. But it also helped her get a job here, because the factory employed mainly colored workers.
I started working here in 1981. The kids was at the welfare in Boksburg, and then I had to find a job to support myself and take something for them every month or so. Then I worked here for 7, 8 years. I was working at the lipstick, making lipstick. And it was a nice place to work. All the people are friendly.
Today, because of her story, Sandra is something of a minor celebrity in South Africa. Her former colleagues still regard her with warmth and affection.
How are you, Sandra? Everything okay? Alles
Maar het gewoon was goed was, gewoon maar.
Wil dit nie help as nie.
Onze plek is prachtig. En avond.
Gezien nou hoe vet.